Welcome back to the MSD Systems YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about all things BPC-157, dosages, different protocols for different usages, and how to actually mix it, take it, etc. But before we get into that, if you're into strongman or anything strength and conditioning, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you can get access to our future videos. So we'll be coming out with more videos soon. And we do have a nice library of videos of information on strength and conditioning and strongman as well, so make sure you check those out. If you followed the channel previously, we did used to have an old video on this that I have removed. The reason for that is because it's been a couple of years since then, and I've got more experience with BPC-157, and I've got more up-to-date protocols that I wanted to share with you guys because they are much more effective. So in this video, I'm going to be going over what BPC is, how to use it. We're going to be talking about different protocols if you want to take a mild, moderate or aggressive approach with it, or if you want to just control general inflammation. And at the end of the video, I will be going over how to actually mix and use BPC. So if you are a little bit of a BPC newbie and you have no idea how to use it at all, at the end, I will go over what you will receive when you order it, how to mix it, what it all looks like, etc. A full guide. But we're going to start with a little bit of an overview of BPC-157. Before we get into that, a little disclaimer. It's up to you if you use BPC-157. I'm not advising you to use it. I'm just going to go over protocols that I found effective and get the results that you want, because let's face facts, if you're looking into BPC-157, you've probably got some kind of injury, niggle or inflammation going on, and if you've got this far and decided you want to run it, then it's up to you which one of these protocols you decide to use, or if you just take the information for what it is, use it, digest it, and build your own protocol. So a quick overview of BPC-157. What is it? It is a peptide, which is a string of amino acids linked together to give a specific outcome when taken. The outcome that we're looking for with BPC-157 realistically is it's basically known as a healing peptide, guys, is the best way to describe it. It's mainly for soft tissue damage, e.g. muscle tears, pulls, etc. But it is amazing at controlling and reducing inflammation as well. So if you've got some kind of tendinopathy going on, let's say you've got a little bit of tendinopathy in your elbow or your knees or something, then it can be used to reduce the inflammation around the joint. The thing that you need to know about BPC-157 though is that it isn't a miracle cure, guys, and you have to pair it with a proper training program to get the best results. It is basically, let's say you've pulled your hamstring and then you start taking BPC-157, you still have to do all the things you would do if you weren't taking BPC-157. You're going to probably need some manual therapy. You're going to need to have a program put in place that reloads the muscle slowly over time. Depending how bad the injury is, it might be 2 to 3 weeks, or it might be 1 to 2 months. It depends on the nature of the injury. What I would say the biggest mistake I see people make with BPC-157 is they get an injury and the first thing they do is they think about the peptide. It's the last thing you should think about, guys. So if you are watching this video and you've just got an injury or a niggle going on, make sure you go to a physio or some professional first of all to find out exactly what you've done. What muscle is it that you've actually hurt? Because when you talk about pain in the shoulder, there could be a lot going on in there, guys. So it's important to find out exactly what is going on and put together a proper rehabilitation program, because if you do that and then add the BPC on top, you will massively speed up your recovery. However, if you just take BPC and try to continue as normal, that ain't how it works, guys. You're going to re-injure and you're going to potentially drag out the length of time it should take for recovery. Don't be scared to pull back a little bit and get a little bit of rehabilitation done, guys. It'll help you out in the long run anyway. How to take BPC-157. You can either take BPC-157 as an injectable or as an oral. If you are to take BPC for an acute muscle injury or some kind of tendinopathy, I would always advise you guys to take the injectable version and use it as close to the site of the injury as possible. I personally prefer an intramuscular injection, and the reason for this is because when you take the oral BPC, BPC is there to help this inflammation going on. All right, guys, when you take oral BPC, if you have a lot of inflammation going on in the gut, before it gets anywhere near that injury or inflammation site you're trying to heal, it's probably going to get used up in the gut, because gut inflammation is a thing, and BPC-157 can be used orally to help with gut inflammation and digestion, etc. But I wouldn't recommend it if you're looking to take it for an acute injury or inflammation in a joint. I would always recommend you took the injectable version. Now, over the last year or two, there's been a lot more data on sub-Q injections, e.g. injecting into like belly fat and then just having the BPC go systemic. This is a pretty good idea if we're looking to control general inflammation, but anecdotally, I would really recommend that you just did an injection into the muscle that you're looking for the effect to be most had on, because like I say, let's say you've got quite a bit of inflammation in your body and you do it sub-Q, it's going to go systemic and help everywhere. And if you're looking for a very specific outcome like your elbow, you're much better going close to the joint. However, I don't believe, and anecdotally, I don't think it makes too much odds if you go a little bit further away to a kind of a more suitable injection site. For example, elbows, your delts. Seems to have the same effect as if you were to go into like the tricep or bicep. Let's say you had tricep bicep tendinopathy. Personally, I found very similar results by going into the delts rather than into the bicep, and sometimes it can just be a little bit of a nicer injection if you do that. Let's say it's your knees. I would recommend you going to the VMO muscle personally. That's where anecdotally I've had the best results. But if that didn't sit too well with you and you want to go into like your vastus lateralis or something, a slightly bigger muscle in the quad, then that should be okay as well. Just try to get as close to the site that you're trying to affect as possible, and it seems to have a much better result than going sub-Q. However, this is my opinion based on anecdotal evidence. But if you trust me, then let's go with that and go close to the site as possible, guys. So BPC-157 protocols and dosages. Over the last couple of years, I've been experimenting with many different protocols with BPC-157, and there's a load of different ways to utilize it to get a result and outcome that you're after. So I'm going to start off with gut inflammation / general inflammation first of all, and a protocol that you can use that'll help your digestion and just general inflammation and recovery from training. I would recommend, if you're looking for gut inflammation and general inflammation, to take oral BPC daily. I'm not affiliated with any companies, guys, so I can't link you in the direction of a specific oral BPC source. I don't actually use this protocol myself anymore. If I was using one at the moment and I knew a website, I would recommend it to you, but I'm not really sure. But you can get oral BPC pretty commonly. I think there's a website called Biolabs. I do believe they sell BPC-157 for the UK, oral version. But take BPC-157 orally daily and then have a top-up shot of injectable BPC sub-Q once a month of a full vial of BPC. So you would just mix the full vial and inject the full thing sub-Q into your belly fat once a month. So that's basically daily BPC orally. Just take the dosage that's on the bottle, guys. You don't need to mega dose it or anything. Just take what's recommended. And then with the injectable BPC, a full vial, 5 milligrams is a full vial once a month. Okay. That's a protocol that I found very effective to just manage general inflammation and gut inflammation. However, with BPC-157, the thing that I'm learning, guys, is you can take more, to be honest with you. So let's just say that protocol wasn't doing as much as you wanted it to. You could obviously up that to every 2 weeks you did 5 milligram shot of BPC-157 sub-Q. I found that mega dosing BPC, just putting it all in one shot, has the same effects as doing, or should I say similar effects as doing a microdose daily. And if you're looking to just control general inflammation and have a protocol that lasts like a year that you can stick to, it's much easier to do a 1 monthly 5 milligram shot, 12 times a year, rather than microdosing daily. Trust me, you don't want to do that. You won't be able to keep up the habit. So if we have like once every 2 weeks or once a month, a full 5 milligrams of BPC shot sub-Q, this is going to help global inflammation levels reduce, and your oral BPC is going to help your gut inflammation. Really good, powerful protocol that if you're struggling with inflammation, recovery from training and your gut health, that you can utilize to just improve that and have a really good synergistical effect with your strength training, guys. The next protocols we're going to look at, mild, moderate and aggressive protocols for acute injuries. So I'm just going to go with a muscle belly tear as an example. So let's just say we're dealing with a hamstring tear, and I'll use this as an example as the protocols that you can utilize. So Depending on the severity of the injury and how long you're looking at, remember you need to put a reloading program in place first of all that's going to be circa 3 to 8 weeks, whatever the hell damage you've actually done to the hamstring, and you need to make sure that's in place first of all. But the way in which we would speed this up, if we were going to use a mild protocol for acute injuries, I do believe that having a frequency of injections is very, very beneficial, and making sure that you're constantly taking BPC daily. So I have found that about 500 micrograms is probably the minimum that I would go to daily. So I wouldn't use less than 500, or recommend you to use less than 500 micrograms daily personally. So if you wanted to go for a more mild approach to your recovery, you could inject 500 micrograms of BPC once a day into the hamstring for the duration of your reloading process. Things to note there are the BPC is going to speed up the recovery massively, but it's a real big mistake to start going too quick with your reloading, because BPC will bring down inflammation quickly, but the actual healing process itself is going to take a little longer. So it's quite common for someone to take BPC daily and the hamstring feel better, but your feelings are lying to you. Your hamstring is still healing, so don't necessarily go off that feeling, because that's just the inflammation going down in the muscle and you not getting the feedback and sensation of this inflamed, painful hamstring. So it might feel a little better, but still stick to your reloading plan, guys. Now, if we wanted to get a little bit more aggressive with the BPC protocol, we could obviously just do the same thing, but increase the dosage to something like 1 milligram a day. But what I like to do is have a mega dose protocol paired with the more micro dose protocol, where we would go once a week. Let's say on a Monday, we inject 5 milligrams, so a full vial of BPC directly into the injury site, into the hamstring. And then we would continue on with 500 micrograms for the rest of the week. Again, if you wanted to be slightly more aggressive, you could do 5 milligrams at the start of the week, and then you could do 1 milligram daily, to double the dose of the micro dose as well for the rest of that week, and then repeat it. The thing with BPC that I've learned over the years, guys, is that it really does do its job, and it's kind of like PEDs. The more you take, the more it works, so to speak. And the limiting factor with BPC and its utilization kind of comes down really to the athlete, how much time they've got. Like if you've got an injury 4 weeks out from a massive show and you want to do the show and you want to do the most aggressive protocol possible, we'll talk about that in a second, but it's going to cost you more money because you're going to need more vials of BPC. So when you build these protocols, you've got to weigh up cost versus the time you've got. If you're in off season, you've got plenty of time, you don't necessarily need to like speed things up like crazy, do you? So you might go for a more mild or moderate protocol. But if you are wanting to go aggressive, this is the most aggressive that I would recommend personally, and the most that I have used and seen used with athletes. But maybe you could even go more aggressive than this if you wanted to. But using roughly 3 vials of BPC per week seems to be kind of like around about the limit as to where the threshold kind of ends as to speeding up healing. And realistically, as long as you're getting those 3 vials in spread across the week, it doesn't necessarily matter too much how you do it. You could just go with like 2 milligrams a day every day, or you could mega dose Monday, Wednesday, Friday if you wanted to, just to save you on injection frequency. But these are much more aggressive protocols than what I had in my previous video, because I wasn't new to BPC, but I hadn't really experimented with BPC. I'd found something that worked really well and thought, well, why change something that works? But then certain scenarios crop up and certain things happen where you need to speed things up a little more. And I've just experimented more over the years, and also liaised and spoke with people that know a little bit more about this than me, and learnt different protocols that I wanted to share with you guys. So There you go, you've got 4 protocols there for BPC-157 that you can utilize and add in if ever anything crops up. Hopefully nothing crops up, guys, but more than likely if you're watching this video, something's happened. So hopefully one of these protocols helps and gives you some ideas. But now we're gonna talk about, for the people that haven't used BPC-157 before, what to do, how to use it, how to mix it, and what it looks like, etc. when you get it. So this is all you're gonna need, guys, for BPC-157. You're going to need some insulin pins. If you're in the UK, you can purchase these on a website called Medi Supplies or MediSave, I believe, sell them. These are just 1 ml insulin syringes. You will need a vial of BPC, which comes in a powdered form, guys. I always get my BPC in the UK from a website called Trident Peptides. I am not affiliated with Trident Peptides. They just sell good quality peptides. They always have a discount code on, guys. So type 40, the number, % off. And then if that doesn't work, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Just work your way down, guys. Start at the top, go down. There's always a discount code on, so don't pay full price on Trident. You'll also need some peptide mixing water or some back water. And you will need an alcohol swab. When you get your BPC, these are the things you're going to get. You're going to get 2 vials and you're going to need your slim pin. So all we do is, well, first of all, let's talk about the BPC. We've got 5 milligrams in this vial, okay? So if I mix a ml of water into this, then I have 5 milligrams per ml, all right? So if I want to take 500 micrograms, I would take 1 unit or 0.1 mil on my insulin pin. So when you're doing a big dosage, like say you wanted to take the full 5 milligrams, I would recommend just putting 1 ml of water in, because then you can withdraw the full ml and put it in. Whereas if you are going to do the 500 micrograms protocol, I would recommend you actually put 2 ml of water in, because it's a little easier to get your dosage correct instead of just getting 0.1 ml on your insulin pin. So the way we mix it, guys, is very simple. Take the top of the vial off your mixing water, take the top of the vial off your peptide, and always just give it a little bit of a wipe with alcohol swab. We've just got a little bit of a cotton pad here we've dipped in alcohol because we didn't have any alcohol swabs lying around. Take your insulin pin, and your insulin pin will probably say something like, let's say 10 or 100 on. So 100 or 10 units is 1 ml. So we're going to withdraw 1 ml of peptide mixing water. Go. And when you put with peptides, the molecules are very fragile, so don't put the needle through the top of the jar and squirt the water into the powder aggressively. Just point the needle towards the side of the vial. So just point the needle towards the side of the vial and just let it kind of slowly trickle in. You don't need to, because there's because of the kind of vacuum in the vial, you don't need to push down. It will just naturally come out. And once we've done that, remove this needle, put it to the side, and just kind of give it a little stir. Again, don't be shaking it up and down, guys. It's fragile. Just give it a little mix. Make sure all the powder gets mixed. There we go. So now we have 1 full vial of BPC-157 mixed with 1 ml of backwater. So to take the BPC-157, we would always use another needle. Whenever you use an insulin pin to go through a vial, the pin is now like dull, so don't ever inject with that. Just bin it and use another pin. So we would go through, and then let's say I wanted to take 500 micrograms of BPC. I would just withdraw 0.1 like that, okay? If I wanted to do 1 milligram, I'd do 0.2, and then 1.5, 2, etc. So you can control your dosage just pretty easily by the units or the 0.1, 0.2 mil, etc. on your slim pin. Every single insulin pin will be slightly different depending which one you order. These are BD. If you go on that MediSave, I think these are called BD insulin pins, the one I'm using. And they're 10 to 100, but some are 1 to 10. You know, you can figure it out, guys. It's not rocket science. And that's it. Once we've made the BPC, all we would do is we would alcohol swab the area you're going to inject, put the needle in and inject it. It's water-based, guys, and it's a very tiny needle, so it isn't anything crazy. And a lot of you won't want to inject. A lot of people want to take the oral version. A lot of people want to skip the injection. But unfortunately, good things, you know, they don't come easy. So stop trying to take the easy way out and just take a few tablets. If you really need to use BPC, if you've been trying everything under the sun and you've decided that this is what you want to do, then you've got to just bite the bullet and take the injectable version if you want to get the best results for an acute muscle injury. Once you've mixed your BPC, whenever you withdraw it, I would just recommend you injecting it straight away. And the BPC vial, once mixed, I would store this in the fridge. And then you can just obviously take the dosages out each day as you need, and yeah, it should be fine. And that's pretty much everything on BPC-157, guys. I've covered a couple of different protocols for you, showing you how to mix it, showing you where to get it from, showing you how to withdraw it and mix everything. So we should be sweet. Hopefully this video helps. Remember, if you're into strongman, anything strength and conditioning, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We are going to be releasing more videos soon, so make sure you keep an eye out and check through and scroll through our old videos. We've got loads of information out there. Speak soon.